Before any of you freak out, there is a Survivor version of this video. Whether that comes before or after this one is another story entirely. That being said, I do a lot of videos where I take the time to address both sides of the tribalistic armies constantly at each other's throats called the roles of Dead by Daylight, and today we are focusing on the killer role. Now, I'm often accused of having a heavy killer bias, mostly due to people having little to no knowledge of my content, and or people just tending to accuse you of being a whiny entitled insert main here whenever you talk about something that would be beneficial or detrimental to one side or the other. But of the two sides, I do play killer more often. I play around a 60-40 split, and that's mostly due to my visceral hatred of solo queue and my overwhelming lack of friends. Especially friends that are willing to traverse the perils of the 17 legions in a row, followed by me losing my mind, because all I want to do is complete gens for an archive, but I keep getting found first every fucking game. That being said, because of my more killer leanings, I can understand a lot of the frustrations often parroted in the community when it comes to playing killer. The game's over-reliance on pallets, making playing any killer who's below A tier a pain in the ass, tiles that spawn too close together creating pseudo-infinites, perk combinations that don't feel earned and feel like they have no counterplay, fuckle up, background player flashbang, etc., which are thankfully getting nerfed soon, and how fast gens tend to fly if you aren't running slowdown. The massive headache of keeping track of your perks, of the 4 survivor perks, of the progress of every gen on the map, of the last time you saw a survivor and where, of your power, of your work schedule, of the entire lore of Kingdom Hearts, of your mom's birthday, of your anniversary, and the entire expanded universe of every Stephen King novel ever. However, I do believe some killer complaints and mannerisms are a bit ridiculous, so I thought I'd go through those today and see how many killer mains I can piss off in one video. Comment 1. This game is so survivor-sided, and they just won't stop nerfing killer. I hate this. And I hate you. That's not true. I love you. Buy my merch. And subscribe to the channel, in that order. But this argument gets so tiring, especially with all the killer buffs that have happened over recent patches. Sure, they have come with killer nerfs as well, but do you guys remember my video about pessimism and why I hate it so much? It's because of people's downright ridiculous willful blindness to seeing the good along with the bad. Sure, the nerfs to gen regression while buffing gen progression in the 8.0.0 patch is a shit idea, and I hope that they revert that. But let's not pretend for a moment that that patch didn't also nerf 3 survivor perks, or that killers didn't get buffs in the same patch. It's a ridiculous assertion that behavior only ever nerfs killers, and it's equally ridiculous to say that the game does not favor killers in the slightest. We have several killer-sided maps, including Rotten Fields, Mid-Bitch, and Haddonfield, the later of which was previously one of the most survivor-sided maps in the game. Our perks tend to do far more damage than survivor perks do, and we also have a lot more control over the flow of the game. We literally have the power to decide if a survivor lives or dies, and to top that off, the most oppressive thing in the game, the nurse, is not only available to us, but is given to us with the base game, so we basically get it for free. This game is actually far more balanced than this community gives it credit for. Sure, we will never have perfect balanced, but saying this game is survivor-sided is just, simply put, wrong, and 99.9% of the time, something said either out of frustration or, honest to Sithis, unironic, skill issue. Comment 2. 4-man Bleedout is a strategy, okay? I'm not cringe for it, I just want to win. I talked extensively in my slugging video about how the only form of slugging I find to be truly cringe behavior is 4-man Bleedout at 5 gens. If you have the opportunity to hook people, just fucking hook them. If you want 4 on the floor till you do the hook, whatever. It's boring and inefficient to do so, but hey, you are more than welcome to play however you want. But 4-man bleedouts are not a good strategy to win, unlike conventional slugging, camping, or tunneling. 4-man bleedouts are done for no other reason than to BM. Oh, but what if it's a Sabo squad? Sabo hooks respawn. Well, what if all 4 ran to a comp corner with boil over flip-flop and there's no hooks? Yeah, because that's happening more than, once every 500 games? Broad strokes paint the fence faster, folks, so if I tell you something is cringe or bad or whatever, and you gotta come up with a terribly unlikely scenario that never happens to justify it, then perhaps you should just assume I didn't mean that one, huh? Comment 3. If you slug, tunnel, or camp, you're just a bad killer, and you bring disgrace to killer mains. Shut the fuck up. This is going to seem like a contradictory point to my last one, but I'll explain in a moment why I'm not a hypocrite here. Moral grandstanding inside the killer community is so fucking weird. Look, if you want to throw your games or make your games harder by actively avoiding going out of your way to play in the most inefficient ways possible, that is your prerogative. You are allowed to do that. But just because someone is trying to win does not mean they are dishonorable or bring shame to killer mains like we are in fucking Mulan or something. The killer community loves to play this really weird game where they turn their noses up on anyone wanting to win the fucking video game. They create weird rambly ass posts about how killers who use no-ed are secretly bad and they are so much better than those stinky know-nothing killer mains who dare to go back to an unhook that happened 3 feet from them. I also want to point out that you're playing this moral high ground card for no actual reason. Survivor players are not going to take it easy on you. They won't purposely not do gens if you're having a bad game. They won't let you get a hook and avoid saving if you're 4 gens down with no hooks. And least of all, they will not give you the benefit of a doubt when shit like tunneling or camping does happen. I have been accused, more times than I can count, of tunneling or camping when I wasn't doing either of those things. The survivors were just playing bad. One time I saw Otz attempt a no tunneling challenge. He hooked a Dwight and then hooked the other 2 people. Then, as he was hooking the second of those 2, the Dwight got unhooked, ran smack into Otz, and then when Otz downed him and rehooked him, the survivors and even some of Otz's chat yelled tunneling when it wasn't. So sure, you can go play how you want, that's up to you, do you, but quit acting like you're morally better just because other killers employ the best strategies to win the game. And before somebody is like, but didn't you just say that it's cringe to do a 4-man Bleedout? Yes, I did. And you can call me a hypocrite, you would be wrong, but you can call me a hypocrite for that. But there's a difference between calling something cringe and taking a moral standing, acting like there's some sort of dishonor in playing in certain ways. But as I stated back in that section, 4-man bleedouts are not done for the purposes of winning. Slugging a couple of survivors so that you avoid getting pallet or flashlight saves is done for the purposes of winning. Returning to an unhook or tunneling out a survivor who's a wink link is something that is done for the purposes of winning. Camping a hook because there's only one other survivor left on the map and you want to see if you can get both of them in one shot is something done for the purposes of winning. Not all of these strategies are the most efficient at times, and I understand that it can be frustrating to go against. And as a killer player, maybe you don't want the other side to have frustrating games. Again, that's up to you, but acting like you are better morally or skill-wise just because you quote-unquote don't do these things is just ridiculous. Comment 4. These survivors were so toxic. They were pallet stunning me and flashlight blinding me and sabotaging hooks right in front of my face. So they were... Hang on, let me check my notes here. Trying to survive? Look, accusations of toxicity when people are just trying to win the game is something I've talked about in the past. It's a ridiculous assertion that makes you look like a fucking crybaby. Survivors have tools in their arsenal to help their teammates not die, or survive, if you will, and utilizing these tools is not toxic. Quit saying this shit. It honestly completely and utterly baffles me how quick this community is to call things toxic when they aren't toxic. It's just playing the fucking game. And look, I get it, right? I was in that camp one time. I used to believe that it was toxic for survivors to blind me after pallet stunning me, only to learn after playing Survivor that that's a really good way to get the killer to be a little bit confused. You're trying to discombobulate them, trying to make them lose their bearings. I understand that now, and that's part of the entire issue. This entire video is aimed at killer mains. It is aimed at people who don't play Survivor or barely play Survivor, and don't try to tell me you play both sides when you play Survivor like once a month for the fucking iridescent or something. It's ridiculous. Comment number 5. Oh my god, I'm so sick of Swifts. They just ruin everything. No, I don't know why I did a British accent for that one. I made an entire video on this, so I won't dwell too long here, but Jesus fucking Christ, bro. You are not getting coordinated 4-man Swifts every game. You just aren't. And Swifts are not as strong as you make them out to be. They do not mean you're automatically going to have a hard game or that people won because of it. The most you're getting is duos who are talking about their crush and what their favorite flavor of ice cream is. You aren't facing fucking Team Eternal, and Swifts are not the reason you are losing most of your games. This is going to be hard for you to hear, but you just suck. And that's all I have for you guys today. If you have some ridiculous things you've heard Killer Main say, leave it down in the comments, and maybe I'll do a part 2 to this soon. And as always, a great big special thank you to my channel members. Listed on screen now. If you want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Did you like the background footage and want to see more? Then head on over to my second channel, The Kaiser VODs, where you can see full gameplay, stream compilations, me reacting to your Dead by Daylight clips, and more. We also have a new short that goes up every single day along with the full games. We'll see you over there. Link is in the description.